Christophe Clugston, the Jedi Dog Master, and I'm going to cover some bizarre topics. This is going to be my most non-evergreen video that I've done, talking about a commentary about recent events and things that are changing and things that are applicable to the dog training sphere. Some people might even say this is some gossip, although it's going to be factual. So let's get into it, okay? In no particular order, I'm just going to go through some things that are interesting to know. So the people who are in IGP, the Schutzhund, which are a very small minority of actual dog enthusiasts in the United States, by the way, that needs to be pointed out. There's a huge influence from IGP people into certain aspects of pet dog training. I don't know how that happened, if that's because of Ivan and some stuff from other people, Nino and things like that. The stargazing healing, which is stupid, not functional, it's just ignorant, among other things. That sort of thing has gone into, and the prancing healing style also, besides the stargazing, all that stuff has kind of worked its way into pet dog training. People think it's cool, it's not cool. And I got to tell you though, the number of people who actually do IGP and compete in the United States, and there's many different groups that do this. They have different rules. Some you can only use German Shepherds, others they accept all breeds, and there's some that focus mainly on Malinois now, and that's of course where Ivan is at. But the point is, it's very few people. There are more people that are sled dog mushers. If you combine the fast sprint mushers with the long distance mushers, the long distance, of course, you know, the famous Iditarod or the Yukon Quest. If you combine all of those, there are more people doing mushing, and there are certainly more dogs in the sled dog than IGP. There are more people doing things with gun dogs, bird dogs, field trial dogs, the retriever dogs, the pointers, the flushers, the competition, just the competition dogs, not just the people hunting actually with the dogs, but the ones who do the competitions. There are more people in that than there is in IGP. And yet you see more influence coming from the IGP, a little bit from people who do Mondio ring. Sometimes people talk about French ring. Much more difficult than that, of course, is the Belgian ring, NVBK. People don't talk about that. And then, of course, more functional and also way more difficult than IGP is the Dutch Royal Police certification testing to get the PH1. It's the KNPV. I'll have some talks about that in the future, but a lot of people ignore that because very few people do that outside of the Netherlands, and there's only one or two people who've actually ever gotten a dog at PH1 in the Netherlands who were from outside the Netherlands. One guy is an Irish guy, Alan I think is his first name. Anyway, I bring that up because there's this rule change and all these people are acting crazy, and we're going to have to do this, and for example, like Croyer and Ivan, we're going to have to do this and change that, and who cares? It's contrived nonsense that people are spending thousands and thousands of dollars over and about. And this has, what is the influence on this? You gotta look at it percentage wise. You know, how many people are doing it? There's far more people doing agility, which is not cheap either. I'm not saying that this, I'm just putting it into percentages, that because there seems to be a big influence on the pet dog trainers from IGP, and yet there are a lot of influence from agility trainers, and there was in the past a huge amount too. They're the ones who went only towards shaping. Well, you must shape all behaviors. I've talked about some of these aspects. Again, you're cherry picking dogs, you're card stacking for the dogs because people are using border collies in agility like crazy. You might see a few other mixes, but it's mainly border collies. Same thing with the freestyle or the dog dance. It's going to be border collies mainly. Maybe some poodles here and there, but anyway, that, and then of course when you see IGP, those are going to be very cherry-picked, specially bred German Shepherds or Malinois. And I'll have something coming up talking about the Tier 1. When people keep asking, what do you mean by Tier 1 Dutch Shepherd? I will delineate all of that in an upcoming, that'll happen in a few weeks. But anyway, so IGP is having more of an influence on pet dog trainers, and I don't know why. Is it a fad? People, it's expensive, it's difficult, and basically Schutzhund clubs are known to be assholes. They are they're assholes, generally. It's a very cliquish, pay your dues, we might accept you, we may not accept you into our club, and you're going to spend thousands and thousands of dollars. And what are you going to get out of it? If you want to do a sport where you have a lot of disposable income, then fine, because there are, as I've heard, less than 30 people in the United States who make a living being a IGP trainer coach, trainer or coach only. So I put that out there, and because I want to mention the fact that you constantly hear Ivan talking about he's a 2-time world champion, and he stays the hell away from Mario V, the 6-time world champion, because it crushes him. His whole claim to fame gets crushed when a guy that's got 3 times the world championships and he's 16-time Belgian champion, nobody touches the guy. Nobody. The rest of these guys are way down, and you have all these people bowing at Ivan's feet and saying this and that. If you want to play the game where you only look to IGP trainers, then you should be looking at Mario. And I'm not getting paid to be Mario's spokesman. I'm just a truthful, honest guy. And that's why I take a lot of abuse, because I don't care about people's agendas. I care about the fact, because there's a fight for the pet dog training population segment of everything, because it's the huge one. There are more people every year. There are more urban dwellers getting dogs, and this is where I've talked about this many times, about this is where the problem came from. People who used to live in the rural had dogs, and the dogs fit in and did sort of a task, or they fit into the lifestyle much better. Now these people live in a place where the dog, they bought the dog or got the dog because of looks. They didn't get the dog because of function, and they don't know anything about dogs. I got to tell you something too. Here's something I was going to say for another video, but how much time do you spend around other humans in a day? And most people are going to spend almost all their time around other humans, work or whatever. Maybe they're married, have family, school, all that stuff. How many of you spend most of your time with dogs, canines? There's very, very few of us. Very few of us. You're not going to equal us on knowledge, and that's why the matriarch and I have been talking, among other people, but she's been vocal lately, and that's one of the reasons why she challenged. Let's talk about Larry Crone. I see that guy, bag of dicks guy, and if you don't know what that means, that has something to do with something he said in one of his Facebook posts, and that is how I was alerted. I get information from people, and sometimes, it's good, sometimes it's bad. Anyway, so people told me that Larry Crone is saying something about my quarter-mile sit, stay, and recall, and they sent me the link to his Facebook video where he doesn't show it. I mean, he's not doing it. It's not a quarter mile. It's not legitimate. It's not a quarter mile. He didn't do it. It's like saying, well, and Larry is saying in this video, well, that's no great thing. Anybody who trains dogs is a professional, especially for as long as me, because nobody else has trained. See, Larry talks about how long he's trained dogs, 27 years or something like that, around that mark. 51, bastards. 51 years. You don't touch me. You're nowhere close. I've trained more dogs. I've done more different types of dog training. That's where these people fall the hell apart. And I know more than any of them do. I know far more. But again, you can look at my other videos, but I have the academic credentials of having behavioral sciences. I know I passed all of this stuff. I did respondent and operant, and people make mistakes on that all the time. Even the famous people, they get the definitions wrong. They don't understand it because they didn't have to academically prove it. They just read something, It doesn't mean anything in the end result. I did all that. I've trained, specifically done from gun dogs. I've talked about this many times. Functional dogs, mainly. Movie dogs, commercial dogs, doing commercials. Those are the production dogs. You know, I did war dogs. Yeah, war dogs. Not military working dogs. I've done also war dogs, scout dogs, combat trackers, that sort of thing. I started way back. I know all these things. I've worked with more different types of dogs on 3 continents, from the Arctic to the jungle. Larry Crone has not. Larry Crone hasn't lived. I'm talking about living in the places too, not visiting. Oh, you were a tourist, pack your bags. That's not what I'm talking about. So Larry puts out this video, but I didn't know until recently that he actually put it on YouTube. Now that infuriates me, because what he's trying to do is denigrate and dismiss what I've done, saying, oh, anybody can do it. You didn't do it, Larry. It's bullshit. The audacity to put your failure up. You didn't do a quarter mile. It's not marked. It's like saying, oh, anybody can run a 4-minute mile. Here I am at the last 100 yards, 100 meters. Here's the last 100 meters of the mile. Here it is. You didn't do it. And it's like, oh, it's nearly a mile. No, you didn't do it, Larry. You didn't pass it. And if it is just something that anybody can do, which is Larry's trying to dismiss it, then why can't you do it? How come I don't see it? How come the matriarch and I are the only ones that have done it? And it's not that. And I said, you want to get into competition? Who can do the dogs the furthest? Bring it on and get your money, because my tier 1 Dutch Shepherd X and I can do a hell of a lot further than any of you people think. And the fact that Larry is not using electronics means he's not that far away, because you have to use electronics to be able to communicate to the dog. Dog cannot hear your voice that far away, and whistles are at their extreme. At quarter mile is about that limit, actually, of whistles. Talk to retriever people. He doesn't know that. He's bullshitting. And Larry doing this bullshit and trying to denigrate stuff is pissing me off. And I see that he's made a whole new series of training videos for people. Well, that's great, Larry. Well, how come you can't do what I can do, Larry? And that also crosses over to something where people are not getting it. And I'm going to bring up the matriarch again, because she pointed something out, and this is about Akuma, my monster American bulldog, the most famous monster American bulldog on YouTube. The fact that I've trained him to be able to do limp, left or right side, switch limp. Nobody's done that with an above 100-pound dog. The dog has no damn tail. Now, the matriarch pointed out this because she's observant and said, I've watched you work with Akuma, and it's incredible. Nobody's going to be able to do it. Nobody. Nobody else can do that. Your bond with that dog and your ability to train that dog are beyond what anybody else is going to be able to do. And it's true. Nobody's come close. All the trick trainers, Kiko Pup, all these people working with their border collies and stuff that they can train to limp. It's not the same method. And they have not ever tried to do it with a dog above 100 pounds. And they certainly haven't done it with an American bulldog. And they sure the hell can't do it with a dog with no tail, because the dog needs that tail as a counterbalance. And the matriarch saying the things that you have that dog do when that dog has no tail, that was chopped off because he was abused when he was very young, and that tail is deformed, and he's capable of controlling his body. Yeah, because of the way I train. But people don't want to talk about how nobody can equal that. I'm the only person. Get that through your minds, you pieces of shit. No one else can do that. Oh, it's not a big deal. Yeah, it's called trainer skill. Trainer skill. That's the Jedi Dog Master Challenge. It's about trainer skill, not cherry pick, contrived, spend thousands of dollars getting the dog training for a contrived sport. This is trainer skill across a gamut of different events. And it's not just a quarter mile. And that's up there as inspiration and motivation. Again, things that should be able to do. Larry, if you're any goddamn trainer, you can do what I can do, but you can't, Larry. You can't. And I'm singling Larry out because he's pissing me off lately. He's pissing me off. Now, I can also want to talk about a little bit and say condolences to Cabral. Now, Cabral I get along with on certain topics, and other topics I don't. I don't know the guy. I've never met the guy. Probably whatever. He's another, wannabe martial artist. These people don't get it. They don't get it. I was a professional fighter, former world #1 rated in light heavyweight. kickboxing. They'll never contender. They never will do that. 75 fights on 3 continents. They're not. None of these people were professional fighters. They all want to talk about martial arts and stuff. I noticed, you'll hear them babbling, but they never did what I did, among other things. Plus, I'm subject matter expert at zero distance warfare for contractors and militaries. I've been doing that for a long, long time. Everything I do is well researched, and I'm elite at everything I've done. So when you get to this Cabral talking about recently some of his dogs have died. So here's a chance now to show us that you're actually going to work and get difficult pound dogs or shelter dogs. But Las Vegas odds makers say no. He went and he got his cherry picked Malinois. That's fine, the puppy. But the other, he said like 2 other dogs die, I believe. Is he going to replace them with difficult, like a Cane Corso or a Irish Wolfhound, a Sighthound? Is he going to replace them with dogs like this that other people don't want and that are difficult to train? I don't think he is. One of the things I want to add is that YouTube is causing problems with the comments. So on the comments on the videos, lots of people are replying. They're trolls. They don't have any videos. They don't have a real name stuff. So I've tried limiting that. And YouTube has now made it very difficult. They've hidden lots of comments, especially when you have holds on comments. So if there are comments that you made and they're legitimate and they disappeared, it's not from me not approving it. It's from YouTube. It's really changed things. I just want to add that's another problem we're having with everything else in the dog world. And that's just something I have to deal with, as my main platform is YouTube for dog training. I don't feel that TikTok or Instagram is the mode for the demographic that I'm going after, because my channel again is about trainer skill, about actual skill, about across the board in any type of dog endeavor. I'm not just limited to one niche, and that's something I have to keep reiterating because people don't get a grasp. I'm not just doing pet dogs. I am not just doing protection dogs or functional dogs, tactical dogs, not just doing movie dogs, but I'm using those 2 fields because they're the ones I know the most about, and sled dogs, for example, hunting dogs, and putting in there and say, look, hey, people who are dedicated to their dog, they want to be better trainers, want to be better dog owners. There's a lot to learn here, and you're not going to learn anywhere else because other people don't have that background. That's just a fact. And that needs to be driven home, because the thing is, a lot of people want to dismiss and act like my credentials don't count, and because they can't match my credentials. They can't match the 51 years. They can't match the breadth of what I've done with different types of dogs. They can't match what I can do with dogs, thus the Jedi Dog Master Challenge. And something's coming up to make that even a bigger challenge on the monetary rewards. So stick around, because that'll be coming out soon.